Welcome, Andy. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you sparing some time. I understand you're based in the UK. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Sheffield, so north of the UK, and it's all very sunny today, so it's great.
Oh, that's good. It makes a big difference when it's nice and sunny, and certainly lifts our spirits, especially during the age of COVID-19 and everything that's going on.
Totally, yeah. We're working from home.
As we all are, my friend. So, how's life in the UK at the moment then, with everybody working from home? Is it? How is it?
It's very interesting. I mean, we're seeing certainly clients and contacts reacting in so many different ways. You know, some are just saying it's great to have a bit of time off and doing some of the maybe stuff they never got around to doing. Others quite clearly feeling a bit isolated and struggling, and I think it's the uncertainty is the thing for a lot. People are some industries now going back to work, so we're at that stage where some are, some aren't, and it's all very interesting times.
Yeah, it certainly is challenging and interesting for us all, especially the uncertainty, because from day to day to day, we really don't understand what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, the next week, the next month, maybe the next year.
I think that's it. It's trying to take the short-term view, but also then that long-term. What does the long-term look like in terms of the new real world, if there is such a thing?
Yeah, and it's kind of bizarre because I'm more, I sometimes wonder how long term we can realistically look to get a sense of what's going to happen in the future, because before there were certain things we could predict. Now it's who knows? Are we going to get a lockdown again in the winter again? Is it going to change? So many unknowns. But thank you for joining us today.
No problem at all. Good to be here.
Thank you. So I understand you're going to share with us some slides. Before we do that though, Andy, just for the benefit of our members who are watching this, who don't know who Andy is and what you guys do, will you just give us a quick overview of your company, please?
Sure, yeah, I mean, I'll take people through that in the session, but it's really, I'm a consultant, I'm a speaker, particularly looking at how businesses differentiate themselves in sort of what are very often competitive marketplaces. So we run training courses and I speak at conference events around the world.
Fantastic. Hey, that's perfect. So you're going to share your slides, so we'll go over to you and let's see what you've got for us. And thank you.
That's great. Thanks very much indeed. Here we go. Hello there, and greetings from Sheffield. We're going to talk about creating customer delight with 3D service, and we'll explain what that's all about, and maybe more importantly, what it means for your business. But first of all, I would like you to imagine the situation. You arrive in London. You've come down for a 3-day conference. A client of mine did this. She came down from Leeds, the HR director of a client of ours. She turned up in London, got in the taxi to go to her hotel, and suddenly discovered that her purse had gone. She went running back to the platform, couldn't find it. Luckily, she had enough cash in her pocket to get to the hotel, which had been paid for by her company. So she's now in her hotel room, a bit stressed, but now having to ring round all the banks and all the call centres to actually cancel her cards. She said it was incredibly painful, laborious, robotic, until she rang a business called First Direct, who are a big bank here in the UK. And the lady said, I've had my purse stolen. They said, well, where are you now? Are you okay? Are you safe? She said yes, and she explained the whole story of what had happened and what was going on. The lady took her details and explained that she would get her card to her in the next couple of days. But said, obviously, that's not going to help you now if you've not got any money for the next 3 days. Have you worked out what you're going to do for money for the next 3 days? She said, I've not even thought about that. The lady from First Direct said, well, I've had a quick look on Google Maps. About 350 yards down the road from your hotel, there's an HSBC bank. If you tell me what you're wearing tomorrow, I'll give them a call and I'll get £250 waiting for you to look after you for the next few days, if that's okay. You might need to ring me for some security details, but we can sort all that out. Hope that's okay. She went, that's fantastic, that's amazing. She said, I'm just doing my job, have a good day. That is what I would describe as customer delight. And we're going to explore what that looks like in your business and maybe in other businesses as we do this. So what we're going to talk about is what exactly is customer delight, what it means for you and what the benefits are for your business, but also how we see 3D businesses, and I'll explain that in a second, are actually making it work for them. I'm going to deliberately give you examples from outside the call center world as well as the in-call center world, just to maybe hopefully stretch you and think a bit about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and hopefully help you identify what you can do to make it work better for you. I'm always conscious when people ask the question, who on earth is Andy HANSELMAN? I'm a consultant. We help businesses and their people and their leaders get better at what they do, what I call thinking in 3D, which is all about being dramatically and demonstrably different. What is it that differentiates your business? I'm going to explore today maybe how customer delight can actually help do that. I'm based in Sheffield in the north of the UK, but with a real mix of clients, a real mix of them, and I put that up to say I'm no expert in one particular sector. And this whole idea of looking at this dramatically and demonstrably different world, well, here's some evidence that we are in this dramatically and demonstrably different world. I was driving in my car a couple of years ago now, and a mate of mine, as I'm driving along, nudged me and said, "Andy, what's that?" And I said, "It's my iPod." He looked very indignant and said, "How come you've got the old-fashioned version?" A friend of mine called Henry. Henry was 9. Did a bit of research. The year before Henry was born, Facebook was 2, YouTube was 1, Twitter had just been born, didn't even have iPhones, Spotify was just an idea, and MySpace was the biggest social media website going. We're in this dramatically and demonstrably different world. Apple announced late last year they sold more Apple iWatches than the whole of the Swiss watchmaking industry put together. Not right or wrong, just dramatically and demonstrably different. I'm sure some of you might be aware of Amazon Go. Well, maybe this could be the future of retail stores, but with Amazon Go, you walk in with your phone, you buy your crisps, you buy your sandwiches, you buy your drink, and you just walk straight out again. And my father-in-law says they've been doing that in Sheffield for years. He can't tell what the big deal is. But what we're sort of saying here is we're in this dramatically and demonstrably different world, and it's changing everything that we do. We've identified 7 characteristics of 3D business. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm going to talk about characteristic 3, which is all about creating customer delight. And again, just to sort of put some meat on the bones with this stuff, customer delight, our definition of customer delight is surprising customers with the level of service you provide. And if I could just stress, it's surprising them in a positive way. And this is not selling stuff for free, giving stuff away. It's going to make commercial sense. But I think some of the things for me is that it's working out what are the things that work for your customers. It's the scary bit, I think, in some businesses is going into the store and the member of staff knows what they're talking about. It's the law firm that rings you back. Or as a client of mine at least, he said it's the law firm that rings you back when they said they were going to. And we start to realise that customer delight is not have a nice day. We've actually got a business here in our area saying missing you already rather than have a nice day. That doesn't work in Sheffield, but they're trying it. And what I want to explore are some of the ingredients of customer delight. And your challenge, if you like, is to work out what do these mean for you and for your business. I'm going to share with you some examples. Your challenge is to make them work for you and, more importantly, for your customers. So, ingredient 1, it produces a wow reaction. 2, it appears spontaneous or unexpected. 3, it's the personal touch. What works for one customer might not work for another. 4, it makes customers feel valued. 5, it's genuine. And 6, it creates a talking point. It becomes a differentiator. So we're going to look at what those look like in the real world, give you some examples and work out how you can make this work for you and for your customers. And I guess the starting question that some people might be asking is why customer delight? And well, here are 3 reasons to at least consider it. Reason 1 is customers value it. The research shows that 95% of customers say that customer service is a relevant factor in their choice of a brand and their ongoing loyalty. 8% of customers say the experience a company provides is as important as its products and services. And 84% of customers say being treated like a person, not a number, is very important to winning their business. You could argue it's common sense stuff. 43% of customers have consciously not made a purchase from business due to poor customer service. 2, it's a differentiator. Research done by American Express looking at the global customer service barometer. When asked, customers were asked whether customer experiences generally exceed expectations, only 2%. Meet 62, miss 32, and 4% weren't quite sure. Only 2% of customers think expectations consistently and generally exceed expectations. I'd argue that's a huge opportunity. And one of the ways of looking at your business is to look at how people see you from the outside. A little model that we use and get you to think a bit about this from your customer's point of view. -1D is you're seen as being worse than in the areas that your customers say are important. As good as or as bad as, 0D. Management consultants are as bad as each other. 1D is doing things slightly better than. But only if you experience this, if you are doing things that are working in your marketplace, fair chance your competitors will copy you very, very quickly. 2D is about being dramatically different, doing things your competitors aren't and can't do. Dramatically and demonstrably different is doing this stuff consistently to differentiate your business. And that's what we're going to explore, how businesses are doing that. And reason 3, it actually creates opportunities. Particularly in a business-to-business engagement, research suggests delighted customers 5 times more likely to plan on repurchasing than simply satisfied customers. Word of mouth is increasing, as is word of mouse. The news is spreading quickly. This isn't proof of anything, but hopefully it gives you an example of maybe how things can and do spread. And I'm not putting Gangnam Style up there as a model of excellence. Nearly 4 billion views around the world shows in this very interconnected world. And in lots and lots of cases, we're actually seeing that word of mouth is the most reliable source of information about ideas, information and products. So what are people saying about you and your business? And they're saying it on social media. Pret a Manger chain of stores here in the UK. There's a tweet somebody did all about a particular member of staff. Are we doing things that delight our customers and actually make them talk about us to other people? And I think it's also worth pointing out that there's some challenges we all face when it comes to customers in today's competitive market. And again, 3 challenges for you to consider. See if you recognise any of these. 1, we're in a very, very transparent world. Lots and lots of people do research before they make big purchases. I'm yet to go on the website of a hotel that says we offer a fantastic customer experience apart from Tuesdays and Thursdays when Jeff, the manager, isn't in. We're bound to say great stuff in our marketing material about what other people are saying. 3/4 of us don't believe that companies tell the truth in advertisements. And if you get them in your part of the world, one of the things that really irritates me particularly is adverts in this country for cosmetics, where it says 98% of women approved of this product, little asterisks, sample size of 114. And you realise that anybody can play this game. For example,
Andy HANSELMAN. He's smooth, he's good looking, he's charming, and in our survey, 100% of women said they'd recommend him.
And that's only on a good day. And I'm not saying we shouldn't advertise, of course I'm not, but people are questioning that. We're also seeing expectations are rising if you're experiencing this. In the UK, 75% of customers think customer service levels are at an all-time low. I'm not sure they are. I think what it is that expectations have got higher. Worldwide, 56% of global customers say they have higher expectations than they had just a year ago. If you've got younger customers, that's up at 62%. Anybody here walked away from a customer, you couldn't get the relationship you wanted, you walked out because you've got bad service, put the phone down on people? I'm sure some of your customers are sometimes doing that to you. And idea 3, and challenge 3 rather, and particularly in this world that we're in at the moment, some research I found, just came across the other day in Forbes magazine, customers are craving human connection. Recent survey by GCS, they looked at customers' preferences in times of distress. 38% of US customers, 39% in the UK, say having the opportunity to speak to a live agent is a make or break factor having a successful customer service interaction. 25% are disappointed when there's no human interaction option. 48% of US customers say getting their problem fixed quickly is their key priority. They want people to actually be able to do the job. And 38% of US customers, 30% of the UK, want to experience a level of friendliness. Now, you could argue this is obvious stuff. And Shepherd Presentations looked at this whole idea of ask customers to say 3 words that they're actually looking for in terms of the things they're looking for from suppliers of customer service, particularly when calling a customer service area. Fast, helpful, friendly. I say you could argue those things were there before coronavirus came along. I'd actually argue what it's doing now is exacerbating the situation. So those are the challenges. What can you do about it? Well, I'll stress again, these are just ideas, but your challenge is to work out how can they work and do they work for you. Idea 1 is empower for delight. You'll notice I slipped in the empowerment word there. It's one of those words that lots of consultants like me use. Timpsons in the UK are a chain of cobblers and key makers. It's a 28 million profit a year business, chains all around the UK. Their staff are empowered to spend up to £500 to solve a customer's problem on the spot. They can actually deal with customers there and then. They don't have to talk to a manager. That's what I would argue is about empowerment. And it's all about the culture of the organisation. They create the behaviours that you want. And I looked up, because I was coming to an esteemed audience, my old definition of culture from my MBA notes, and I thought, I have no idea what that means. The definition that we like to use, and I get you to think about this in your business, is it's the way we do things around here. Positively, negatively, consciously, unconsciously. Another definition that I like is from Herb Keller, founder of Southwest Airlines. And he said, it's what people do when no one's looking. Have you got this culture in your business that actually makes people, encourages people, allows people to go the extra mile for your customers? It's about spelling out the behaviors that you want. And this doesn't mean just putting lots of values up on the wall. It's actually about spelling it out. In 3D businesses, we see the behaviors are spelt out, they're meaningful, and they're used and lived. For example, at Timpson's, they have 2 core behaviors, and they are look the part and put the money in the till. That's what they want their team to do, and they encourage and support them to actually doing that. But some examples of what this might look like, again, in the real world. I turned up to a client of mine. We'd done some customer service training there 6 months previously, all about going the extra mile for customers. I arrived at their offices, and a lovely car parking space reserved for me as I walked in to the reception area. Andrea, the office junior, a 17-year-old, said, "Hi Andy, how are you?" I said, "Great, thanks." She said, "Have you had a good trip from Sheffield?" I said, "It was very good. You went from Sheffield." I said, "Yeah, I have." She said, "Like a cup of coffee while you're waiting?" I said, "That'd be brilliant." She goes, "It's black, no sugar, isn't it?" I said, "How do you know that?" She goes, "It's my job to know." And the thing she'd taken away from the training was that she was responsible for people coming into their building. She'd actually been empowered and supported and encouraged to actually look after them. That's what she did for them. We were very, very lucky to visit Zappos in Las Vegas a couple of years ago and learn all about their business based on their 10 core values. And for those that don't know, Zappos is an amazing business built on 10 core values by Tony Hsieh. And they actually talk about delighting customers. And one of the rules that they actually spell out to their employees is stay on the phone till you get it sorted. They're very clear about that. I've worked at quite a few call centres where it's get off the phone as quick as you can. I don't know if you know, you might have seen this, but the world record they've actually said for the longest amount of time on a phone in their call centre is 10 hours, 51 minutes. And I'm sure that hasn't created lots of business for them, but the word of mouth that it's talked about has. And what you will see when you start looking at this stuff is that people will talk about these things. So are your staff empowered to go the extra mile for customers? It's okay looking in the States, but a wonderful story here in London where a young girl called Harriet came over from Australia on a school trip, came over with her mother and father and went visiting Buckingham Palace. And when she came, she actually brought the customer, she brought the dog that the class had actually brought to clip around the world, took photographs of her. When they got back to the hotel and were leaving for the airport, they heard that Harriet, the little dog, had gone missing. So what they actually did, when they got back to Australia, they rang the Queen and asked, "Can you find Harriet?" They actually found, the staff found her, took photographs of her and actually sent them back with some extra toys and presents. In other words, what we're actually seeing here is that Her Majesty the Queen is a 3D thinker too. And what we're trying to talk about here is, do we empower people to do it? And again, one more little example of how they do it. This is at Windsor Castle.
萌炸了，我的天！兵哥哥再见！我的天！我的天！救命啊！
And I'm not suggesting you have to be saluting your customers all the time. What I'm saying here is, are you empowering people to help customers feel valued, and actually do they go the extra mile for them? And if they do you encourage and support them? I had one client of mine who, when I was talking to her, she said, "Andy, I'm really struggling to get my staff to go the extra mile for customers." I said, "What do they get if they do it?" Because, "What do you mean?" I said, "What do they get if they go the extra mile?" Because, "Nothing really." I said, "I'll tell you what they do get. They get more work. The reward for doing a great job is they get to do more." Do you have people in your team, if you want a job doing properly, you give it to them? And what I'm suggesting here is, you champion your champions. Southwest Airlines, they allow their customers to actually highlight the members of staff who've done a great job. They can nominate them, and actually they get rewarded and recognised for doing that. They reinforce the behaviours they actually want. Here in the UK, a client of mine dealt with Marks and Spencer's through the call centre and was all sorted out. They got an email from Marks and Spencer's asking how it had been dealt with. A bit of detail about the person she'd been dealing with. My client actually ticked excellent, sent the email back, and then got this. How would you like us to actually reward that customer? What mechanisms have you got to actually champion your champions and reinforce the behaviours that you're actually looking for? HubSpot, talk about their culture. Damish Shah, you're going to have a culture anyway. You can and should influence it. So why not build the one you love? Idea 2 is all about making it easy. How easy are you to deal with? And I actually see lots and lots of businesses are actually very, very difficult. But interestingly, again, research suggests there are some customers who will actually pay more for a simple experience to take the pain away. But I see in so many companies blockages. I actually went on a website of a particular business and I'd seen 2 products I wanted. And the price difference between the products was huge. So I rang up the helpline to actually get some more information. And the member of staff picked up the phone quite quickly. I thought it was great. And I actually said, I've been looking at these 2 products, but one is £750, one is £100. What's the difference between the 2? Member of staff said, about £650. Accurate, but not particularly helpful. And she was what we call the sales prevention officer. And they exist in your business. There are lots and lots of reasons for this. Some of the typical causes that we see, and I'd encourage you to think a bit about your business. Are there any in your business? Sometimes it could be the systems and processes. We ordered a new settee some months ago. We were told it would be 4-month production before it actually came. We thought, well, it's worth waiting for. We actually got a call after 2 months. Jill, my wife, is on the phone, looking very, very ecstatic. She was getting very, very excited, and I thought we'd won the lottery or won a huge order. Then she went, oh, she's very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Okay, put the phone down. It turns out the call centre rang up to say that the settee was in the warehouse. It would take another month before it would be delivered. They raised her expectations and then dropped them. Interestingly, it still would have been 3 weeks early. If they'd have just rung up and said, great news, your settee will be 3 weeks early, she would have been delighted. But their process actually meant that they did it in a way that actually systematically just repeated what was said. Even worse than that, because it was a 3-piece suite, we got 3 calls and 3 letters. So question and look at your systems and processes. Attitudes of people. Do you question and challenge those that aren't delivering? Do you champion those that do? What are your policies? Never fails to amaze me how many companies offer far better deals for new customers than existing ones. And another one I see called scriptees, where people are given script, forced to follow down scripts rather than actually sitting and engaging with their customers. You'll also see, sometimes, you never know, it could be you, the leaders. You ever done this? Somebody says to you so-and-so on the phone, you say, please tell I'm not in. And what I'm suggesting here is that sales prevention officers exist all over the place. And again, it's what the leaders are seen to be doing to reinforce these messages. So I encourage you to identify your sales prevention officers. And I'm not suggesting you just come with a list of people, but find out what are the things that irritate or annoy your customers and find ways to make it easier for your customers. Who, what and where are your sales prevention officers? Do you know? And get you to think about this. How clear a picture do you actually have? Just watch this, please, and you'll see this. And what I encourage you to do is just watch this and count the number of passes the team in white makes. How many? Did you get 13? Great. Did you see the moonwalking bear? Just watch this again. Here he comes. If you did spot him, you can't believe other people can't. And I can assure you some people couldn't see that because we're all so busy with our heads down. It's easy to miss these things. Therefore, I encourage you to really look at who, what and where are your sales prevention officers. Stand in your own queues. What's it like to be a customer of your business? Talk to and listen to your frontline staff. Give them a damn good listening to. See what they think. I'd also encourage you to actually listen to your customers. What do they actually think? How do they see things? And again, here's a question you might want to consider. And again, lots of questions. One of the questions we love asking is the Net Promoter Score. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. But we also used to ask this question of our customers at the end of our training sessions. Did the training not meet or exceed your expectations? And we used to ask this question. I did some work in quite a large organisation where we'd followed on from other training companies. And I asked the question, and one guy ticked the box that said it exceeded my expectations. We said, why? He said, because it wasn't as rubbish as all other training courses had been sent on. That's hardly a ringing endorsement. And we shouldn't tell you this. Somebody once also ticked the box. It met my expectations. I thought it was going to be a waste of time, and it was. So it's a relative thing. So I would dare you to ask this question. Are you completely happy? Yes, no, why not? You then got to act on the question, act on the responses. But if you can ask that question, it's a question we see 3D businesses ask. Are you completely happy? And that might help you identify what your customer expectations are and or where you're not actually achieving them. And again, some examples of actually looking at how easy people are. In instance, Smooth is a business here in the UK. If the phone rings in their business for more than 3 rings, if the reception phones ring, every single phone in the building rings. Harrowfield Sons is a bar in London, and they've actually got eye recognition to see who was first to the bar, so they can actually treat their customers fairly. So the ones that were there first get treated properly and fairly. Monzo, a business here in the UK, a bank growing massively online. You deal with them with an app. You take a picture of your card license and your passport, do some eye recognition stuff, put some details in, and your card is on its way within 5 working days. Mine arrived in 3. When you talk to Tom Blowfield, the chief exec, he knows that they can do it in 4, but he tells people 5, so it gets them in 3. You're delighted. Virgin Media, who install broadband to houses all over the UK, and one of the problems they actually found was that very often people would book an engineer and then forget. So the engineers would turn up to install the broadband, and actually there was nobody in the house. Because we ring up and complain, they would always blame Virgin. So what they actually introduced was a very simple SMS system. And they actually found that something like reduction in people being out was down by 70%. So they're making it easy for customers, but it also made commercial sense for them as a business. Zappo is a business I talked about. Anybody's seen this in one of the things that they're actually doing in the coronavirus epidemic. They've now given a number where it's customer service for anything. You can call them, and they will try and sort it out for you regardless of what it's to do with. And there is examples of doctors ringing up for PPE equipment and things like that, and they've helped source it for them. That is going the extra mile. And idea 3, the last idea, is to plan some spontaneity. Build this into what you do and how you do it. Planning spontaneity is building moments of wow into your customer journey. And again, some examples, very simple examples, some related to your business, some not. Back to our friends at First Direct. Jill, my wife, was ringing First Direct. Whenever you ring First Direct, whoever answers the phone just deals with it. They don't give a name. They want a consistent approach unless you ask for a name, or unless you're organising a mortgage or a loan. You're a named individual to deal with. Jill, my wife, rang this particular lady one morning, and this other lady picked up the phone and said, "I'm really sorry, Mrs. White. She's not here this morning. She's back in this afternoon. Can I get her to give you a call then?" Jill said, "Yes, that'd be great." She said, "What time would you like her to call?" Jill said, "Well, I'm in a meeting till 4:30, 5:30. Anytime after 5:30 would be great." "If she called you at 5:45, would that be okay?" Jill said, "Yes, that'd be great." Then he said, "I'm really sorry again." She just read out Jill's details, checked that she was going to be at home, gave the right numbers. And the day went on, Jill thought nothing of it. And at 5:45, on the button, the telephone rang. "Hello, Mrs. White, I'm so sorry I wasn't here this morning. How can I help?" Now, you know, and I know they've got a system to do that. They've built into what they do. And I do, lots of businesses can do that. Certainly lots of banks could do it. Certainly in our country, it's not something they do. Took my mum to see her financial advisor, car parking space reserved for her. I visited a small hotel in the northwest of this country. It prided itself on its customer service. I went into my bedroom, there's a little card that said, "Your room has been lovingly cleaned by Mary." It said on the card, "Please look under the bed." Under the bed, little card says, "I've cleaned under here too." A client of ours, an engineering business here in Sheffield, one of the things that they do, they're an engineering business, they export all over the world. When they have visitors from a different country coming, the flags that they actually display outside their building are the national flags from where those people are from. And one of their ideas that came up from one of their 17-year-olds, they also now know the holiday dates of their customers around the world. And this apprentice was a 17-year-old. She came up with the idea. She now has informed all the sales guys, all the production people, all the business development managers, the particular days of when their customers' national days and holidays are coming up, so they can actually say Happy Thanksgiving, whatever it might be. They've built into the way they do business. I just think a very simple bit of information, a phone call, I saw and thought of you, can actually help show customers they actually feel valued. John's Crazy Socks, another business we visited in the US, 6 million turnover business selling socks. John and his father, John is Down syndrome. He is the character of the business. He is Dramatic Difference. He does videos that he sends to customers on their first order. When they send the invoices out, they also send sweets in the bags just to delight customers. And he's a real character. Check him out, see what he's doing, and also make sure you buy his socks. More and more people now are using personalized videos. Vidyard is a free app that you can actually send personalized video messages to customers. Just put it in there, send an email. Again, it brings the people who are dealing with them to life. Highlander, an IT business here in Sheffield, clients of ours, their call centre, they look after customers who are ringing in with customer problems and IT problems. We ran a program with them. One of the things that they came up with is a great idea. They've got the details on the database. If you ring them up and it's a 12-month anniversary, they'll actually just say, you know, I've been a customer of ours for a year. Thank you very much. We'll appreciate it. And the same with 2 years, 3 years. Just a very simple system that acknowledges the customers, the milestones they've actually got. They also send things out to them to say that they value them as a customer. Personalised videos from the YMCA, just demonstrating to customers that they care. So again, if you're thinking about, well, how can I get this customer delight thing working in my business? How can I get my team involved in this? Sit them down, do it on your own, get them together as a team, and complete the sentence. If your customers were to say this, yes, they dealt with professionally, but what completely blew me away was, could that thing be? And that's what I encourage you to think about, is how you can actually build this stuff into your business anywhere in the customer journey. Just a quick word of warning, Chimo Holdings were a business here in Sheffield, the home of high quality jewellery and stainless steel that goes all around the world. One of the things that they would do is they would always say, put a personal note in their package to say, thanks very much, greetings from Sheffield, we hope you find this cutlery to the best of your liking. And Chris, the chief executive, decided to do this because they were exporting around the world, to actually do the notes in about 140 different languages. Slight downside of that was that every now and then they'd get customers very, very excited from other parts of the world shouting down the phone in their language saying, thank you for our note. They couldn't understand what they were saying. Because one of the things that you look at when you do these things, if I have low or no expectations of you and I get a great experience, I'm delighted, which is great. Your challenge is to keep doing this because I have now got higher expectations of you. And that's when we consistently have this great experience and we create devoted customers. Yes, sometimes things go wrong. Are your staff empowered to deal with disappointment and get them back into the devoted area? If they don't, they'll actually be disaffected. They'll go elsewhere and tell other people. So it's delight, but you've got to do this consistently and get this built into what you do, because consistency is the key. So it's not just playing at it, it's doing it in a way, so we're back to the whole culture thing. Great example, a final example, Ritz-Carlton hotels. Every member of staff at Ritz-Carlton is empowered to spend up to $2,000 to solve a customer's problem on the spot. Great story of a guy called Chris Hearn. staying at Florida West Keys Ritz-Carlton Hotel with his family, comes home from his week's holiday to be told the tragic news by his 5-year-old son that he's left his best mate, Joshy the giraffe, back at the hotel. And for those of you who've got kids and 5-year-olds or had them, you know the world has now come to an end. He's not having his tea, he's not going to bed, and he's certainly not going to school in the morning. Chris told his son a bit of a white lie and said Joshy's having an extra day's holiday. That got him to bed. Hopefully he thought we could either find a replacement, or you never know, they might find Joshy. He was going to ring Ritz-Carlton the next day. He didn't need to. He got a call that evening. "Excuse me, have you lost a giraffe?" He went, "Yeah." He went, "Oh, that's amazing. It's the laundry team here. We found him. We found him at 11 o'clock this morning. Been ringing around our customers all day to see who he belongs to. He's on his way. He's coming to see you." Chris said, "That's fantastic, but I don't know if you could help me. I told my son a bit of a white lie, and I told him that Joshy's on next day's holiday. Is there any way you could actually take a picture of Joshy on his holiday for me?" "We'll sort it, sir, no worries." 2 days later, a package arrived with Joshy in it and some beautiful Ritz-Carlton goodies. And in it was a beautifully bound photo album with a picture of Joshy sunbathing, having a massage, driving down to the beach, and chilling with his mates. That's what this stuff is all about. It's empowering people, it's being easy to deal with, and it's actually about making sure that you build into the way you do business. So what are you going to do to empower for delight? What are you going to do to make it easier, spot those sales prevention officers and eliminate them? And what are you going to do to actually build planned spontaneity into your business? And because this is about exceeding expectations, I've got idea 4 for you. Do something. As a result of listening, not just me, but all the other guys you're going to be listening to in this event, take action, do things. Vision without action is hallucination. And it's take that first step. Just try something. I'd argue listening to your customers, listening to your frontline staff, finding and standing in your own queues might just result in you doing something else. So please have a go at that, but it might be doing something that's a bit scary. Just linking right back to the whole coronavirus area we're in. Research came out just last week. 64% of customers say that how well a business responds to this crisis will have a huge impact on their likelihood to buy from them in the future. So this isn't just for now, this is for the future. And therefore work out what you're going to do. Have a go at it, try it, and please let me know how you get on. When we do these things, we often find people can be divided into 3 groups. There are those that make things happen, there are those that watch things happen, and those that ask what happened. Which one are you? Have a go. I wish you all the best with it. Have a great rest of the conference, and missing you already. Thank you very much indeed.
Interesting comments, really interesting case studies, lots of tips in that actually, lots of really good content for everybody. You know, I'm going to relate to one of the little stories that you mentioned. You mentioned it twice about the soft toy.
Yes.
And we have a mascot at Contact Center World. It's for one of our programs called Top Place to Work, and it's a Canadian moose. And right. I was on a business trip in Malaysia, in Borneo, because we were holding a conference out there a few years ago, and we took Monty with us, and we took him to an orangutan rehabilitation place, where they basically take wild orangutans that have been misused or they're injured, and they rehabilitate them and look after them. And we took Monty with us, as myself and one of my colleagues, and we went to the store on the way out. And in the store they had loads of orangutans. So we put we posed our little Monty on a shelf surrounded by orangutans. And then we left, but we left Monty behind. And guess what?
Wow.
Guess what? We never found him again.
You never saw him again?
Never saw him again. But anyway, we never heard. It's just
he's out there somewhere.
He's out there somewhere, probably having a whale of a time with all his orangutan friends. But anyway, no, it's lovely stories that you shared. Lots of really good ideas and lots of good tips and suggestions for everybody. Thank you very much for your time today. Brilliant. It was a real pleasure. It's an honour to listen to you and listen to your ideas and opinions.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Best wishes to everybody. Thank you.